Now, this is something I have never seen in all my time in the green. A little girl. Damon, I have clearly underestimated you. I must stop doing that.
All right, drop the packs, both of you.
Hey guys, Brandon here, and I've got another list here of some of my favorite indie sci-fi gems. Yes, in a world where it seems like almost everything under the sun has been done and seen by everybody, I feel like I've got a good collection of unique or forgotten sci-fi films that maybe most people may not have seen. And by the way, some of these are recommendations taken directly from you guys in the comments of the previous video, so again, please continue to share some of your favorites. Also, I'm going real easy on the spoilers. I promise that there is nothing in this video that will take away from watching any of these films. In the indie sci-fi film The Endless, brothers Justin and Aaron have had trouble readjusting to society after escaping a UFO death cult. At least, that's how Justin thinks of it. Even after receiving an ominous tape from one of the cult members, Aaron is convinced it was a harmless commune.
I said that right before we left, I was told that they were all going to kill themselves. And that's why we left the cult.
She didn't say anything about killing themselves. She didn't.
It's a UFO death cult. It's what they do. They just call it something different. And I rescued us from a cult. I saved you from mass suicide. You're welcome.
They decide to visit the camp, and like any beginning of a good cult story, everybody seems nice, and he's wearing a little cardigan sweater. But there's just something off.
So you all look,
healthy. Fresh food. Air and ale. They'll do it.
I was gonna say exactly the same.
This is amazing.
Thank you.
Maybe you shouldn't be drinking that. Then the movie ends and everybody's cool, right? One day I'd actually like to see somebody have the balls to do that, just make a movie teasing a bunch of creepy stuff and then just give it a happy ending at the 25-minute mark. But no, the cult leader's writing weird equations down on a chalkboard, there seems to be something lurking around the camp, and Jason ends up discovering a variety of people in curious, supernatural predicaments. Like this guy who's hung himself and then just pops up again.
Where's my house? Why the f*** are you in my house? David, you on to hell.
So there's a little bit of a time travel element to all this. This guy, aptly named Carl, by the way, along with others around the camp, are forever stuck in their own individual time loops.
I don't know how you're hanging in there and standing in front of me. I don't understand what's going on at that camp.
Bunch of looping prisons, man. Like pods of time. Repeating over and over and over again like rats, telling stories for that thing's amusement.
I love this guy. A bunch of looping prisons, man. I've been saying that line to myself as I putter around the house. How all of these supernatural elements come together eventually becomes clear, and they work nicely with this core emotional story of how these two brothers have had mixed feelings about the cult for years, and how protective Jason is of his younger brother. You hear stories about it all the time from people who have escaped a cult. You know, like they know it was harmful, but there's no getting around the legitimate positive memories they have and the friends that they made.
There is a house in Camp Arcadia. They call the rising sun.
The Endless it's just a solid, creepy, mind-bending sci-fi film with a touch of H.P. Lovecraft, and it does a great job exploring the narrative possibilities of all the supernatural elements. So come on in. Just stay. One more day. You'll have fun. Join me in my tent.
Hey. You mind if we get a little culty in here one last time?
Back when New Line Cinema was still an up-and-coming independent studio specializing in low-budget horror, they had a modest hit in 1987 with The Hidden, a self-aware sci-fi action drama comedy thriller that honestly just made me nostalgic for the over-the-top feeling of 1980s films. One day, an ordinary stockbroker with no criminal history robs a bank, kills multiple people, and goes on a wild police chase. After successfully earning a 5-star wanted level and ending up in the hospital, a slug-like alien emerges from his mouth into another patient, and then that guy just pieces out.
Yesterday afternoon, he had a massive coronary. But today, it was as if he just
got up and walked out.
I can't really explain it.
So it turns out that this is a body-snatching alien that takes pleasure in causing nothing but chaos and destruction while rocking out to some heavy metal. In his second body, he just steals a boombox and carries it around with him. He's just sitting back in the diner eating his breakfast, scanning around for the next opportunity to just cause the most amount of chaos.
Thank you, Sue. Souvenir Secrets will not be able to buy any Titanic wreck art.
Needless to say, this is all a bit confusing for Detective John Masterson, who begrudgingly follows this trail of breadcrumbs with FBI agent Dale Cooper. Lloyd Gallagher. Yes, Lloyd Gallagher.
Why would he come in here and kill a guy for a lousy $100 and a radio?
Because he likes it. He sees something he wants, he steals it. Something gets in his way, he kills it. And right now, he's hiding out in your city.
A lot of the film's unexpected humor actually comes from this alien. Physically, the actors do a fantastic job struggling to move around. It kind of reminded me a bit of Vincent D'Onofrio as Edgar in Men in Black. And sure, this alien's unpredictable, makes for a good villain, but I just love how he's like a dog seeing shiny objects. He breaks into this warehouse at one point, he's just looking around as if he's saying, "Is anything in here I can break? Oh, look, boobs. What music is this? I don't like that." There's also plenty of humor with Kyle MacLachlan's character, who turns out is also not of this world.
Where did you grow up? Was that north? I have some relatives up north.
There's just something about Kyle MacLachlan that is otherworldly to begin with, and he has these great subtle moments where it's clear he's still learning about Earth and maybe how to control his human body. Everything's a little off. He enters a room and just kind of scans it.
Want a beer or something? Whatever you're having.
When he drinks from a bottle, he's not holding it right. And he's obviously never had Alka-Seltzer before.
It's Alka-Seltzer. Put it in the water and you drink it.
What's important, though, is that none of the humor feels contrived or out of place, and it helps to balance out the plot when things might seem ridiculous without a tongue-in-cheek comedic element. The violence is brutal and satisfying, with extremely messy and graphic squibs exploding like popped blisters.
Yo, hippie! What kind of dude are you?
Danny Trejo, no! Overall, The Hidden has similar alien lore, practical effects, and even sound effects of The Thing, a plot reminiscent of the body-swapping crime drama Fallen, and the sharp sense of humor of They Live. Plus, come on, it's Kyle MacLachlan being weird. What else do you want?
I want to ask you, am I crazy? Or does this seem just a little bizarre?
Yeah, it's a little bizarre.
I knew that. I just wanted to know if you knew that.
Can we go?
The girl is scared. You should listen to her. No harm done yet.
Open it.
Before Pedro Pascal dealt with deadly spores in The Last of Us and donned an uncomfortable, claustrophobic suit in the space western series The Mandalorian, he was dealing with deadly spores in an uncomfortable, claustrophobic suit in the indie space western Prospect, in which he plays one of many ruthless, opportunistic prospectors searching for treasure on a dangerous planet.
You are lucky. I am not immune to intrigue, but be careful you don't overplay this technique.
He comes across C and her father Damon, who scrape by trying to make a living doing this, which it turns out is not easy. It's not like there's just diamonds sitting around or rare elements growing on trees. Like they're kind of embedded in these pods, and extracting them is as complicated and dangerous as defusing a bomb. Like there's a thing inside a thing inside a thing. You got to pour little chemicals on it. It's a whole thing.
If the blister is punctured, it releases carum acid. If it comes in contact with the gem, the whole pull is compromised.
I loved seeing this whole process though. Like it establishes the stakes, how valuable this stuff is, how hard it is to get it. Not to mention, it's just a nice showcase of practical effects.
But that'll rake in at least a few thousand, maybe even 10.
10,000?
Damon decides to push his luck when he gets ambushed by Ezra, and after a good old-fashioned Mexican standoff, C and Ezra are left standing and stranded and must work together to try and find a way home and maybe bring back a nice taste.
I say we go to your mercs. I play the prospector, and together we ravage the queen.
Prospect does a great job establishing the world, right? Like the planet has this dangerous beauty to it, all the technology from the ships to the guns, that has this kind of rickety, dumpy quality to it, like Alien. And Pedro Pascal's dialogue in particular stands out. He has this very eloquent, colorful way of speaking and negotiating that's, I don't know, it's just a nice touch.
If I give you the key, you're just gonna kill me. That is not necessarily true. Nevertheless, contained within the act of killing is a broad spectrum of technique. So there is still incentive for you to acquiesce if that's what you're getting at.
With a rich setting and that classic Western, not sure if I should trust you, but let's work together to find some treasure dynamic, Prospect is indeed a gem in its own right.
That would have been a solid pull back in the rush. But our deposit is going to pull at least hecaton grade.
Well, we've covered the space western genre, but what about the often overlooked subgenre of space western musical? Look no further than The American Astronaut, a bizarre, campy, rock, maybe, musical that's borderline indescribable, but I'll do my best.
Hey boy, I heard it from a friend about you.
In a world where space travel has devolved into a gritty, cutthroat existence ruled by drifters and thieves, Samuel Curtis is a grizzled Earthborn astronaut flying around in a rickety tin can of a spaceship as he scrapes by delivering rare and unusual goods. When Samuel moseys on into one of the many hole-in-the-wall saloons peppered throughout the star system, he trades a cat for a homemade cloning device that's in the process of creating one of the rarest beings in this part of the galaxy.
It's a girl. It's a real live girl.
What am I supposed to do with it?
I don't know.
Samuel's friend, the infamous fruit thief known as the Blueberry Pirate, tells him about the all-male mining planet of Jupiter and how they're so starved for female contact that they will sit transfixed as they watch a USO-type show where the boy who actually saw a woman's breast is trotted out to tell his incredible tale.
It was round and soft. Now go back to work.
And so, like a character in a Bethesda RPG game, Samuel begins a kind of convoluted series of trades as he makes his way across the galaxy, meeting a plethora of odd characters along the way, including the eccentric Professor Hess, who's been following him around obsessively for years, threatening to kill him.
I have a picture of you. Guess what you're doing?
I'm taking a
I put it next to my trophy, and then I say, ooh, there's a stinky boy.
If any of this sounds like something you've seen before, I'd love to know what you're watching, because this movie is off the wall, strange and unique, especially the music. Everything here is written, directed, and starring a man named Corey Maccabee. And all music and lyrics were performed by him and his band, The Billy Nair Show. After watching the movie, I looked up the band on Wikipedia, and I was delighted to see how it was described. Quote, Billy Nair Show is a New York-based musical group of questionable genre. What a marvelous way to describe something.
I've come too far
The same thing applies to The American Astronaut. It is of questionable everything. And that alone is something I truly, deeply love. When a movie tries something, just tries something that's out there. Like, I don't care if it's any good. Megalopolis would be a more recent example of someone just trying something with caution to the wind.
So go back to the club.
And that's not to say The American Astronaut is bad. I liked it, and I honestly still don't know what to think of it. The first time I watched it, I just kind of let the imagery and music wash over me, and I don't know, I think it deserves a rewatch, actually. You know, some movies need that. You need like several coats of paint before you can really digest them.
Anyway, want to hear something really weird?
So yeah, I still don't know what The American Astronaut is. And for that reason, it's remarkable.
All this, and all because of you, the girl with the vagina made of glass.
Yo, 俺なんだけど。おう。俺は未来の俺なんだって。2分後の俺なんだって。俺に話しかけてる？お前に話しかけてる。会話できてる？会話できてる。
I don't normally like time travel comedies. Back to the Future might be a pretty good exception, but I usually don't want any goofiness to infect time travel lore. Like, I'm a true nerd. I want it taken seriously. This is serious business. Paradoxes, time loops, the universe exploding, all that stuff.
I don't want to talk about time travel shit.
That being said, the Japanese film Beyond the Infinite 2 Minutes manages to be very funny and sweet, and dare I use a word I actually hate, quirky. But somehow not irritating quirky.
俺に話しかけてる。お前に話しかけてる。会話できてる。会話できてる。
It tells the story of Kato, a humble cafe owner who one day discovers that, through reasons yet unknown, his personal computer upstairs in his bedroom is streaming a live feed directly from the monitor downstairs in his cafe exactly 2 minutes into the future.
マスターじゃん。動画？まあ、はい。何？ YouTube とかそういうこと？そんな感じです。
His co-worker, Aya, and his friends gradually show up to join in on this odd discovery. They're all fascinated and perform little experiments to explore the boundaries of this strange technology, which also helps firmly establish our time rules for this universe. Gotta have the time rules. Need the rules.
さっきもね、自分と話してましたもんね。
いっぱい聞きたいことあるけど。
The only person not as excited is Kato, who has this uncomfortable sense of foreboding surrounding the phenomenon.
これやめましょう。未来知るの良くないと思うんで。
It's inherently funny just from the concept alone. The near uselessness of seeing 2 minutes into the future becomes quickly apparent to the group.
2分じゃそう変わんないですよね。
まあ分かってもスクラッチカードがこう当たりが出てるかどうか、あと告白して OK かどうか。あれは嫌だな。
Another thing that helps the film transcend being a mere comedy is its one-shot style. Now, this is one of those sneaky ones. It looks like one big take, but they hide the stitches, similar to films like Rope or 1917. Per usual, this adds a little bit of anxiety, not too much, but just enough to give a feeling of unease. Not to mention that the frame rate seemed faster to me when I watched it. This can't just be in my head. There were parts of the film that looked like they were shot at a faster frame rate, and like Pavlov's dog, it made me feel like, oh, I'm about to see some fast action, something dangerous maybe. And it could happen at any moment.
何分後とかに世界が終わってたらどうします？核戦争とかで人類滅んでて廃墟になっててね。いや直近でそうはならないでしょ。
Beyond the Infinite 2 Minutes is, unfortunately, finite, at a short running time of roughly 70 minutes, so I don't want to give away too much else. Suffice it to say that just when I thought this concept was fully explored, it took another direction that made me physically lean forward and go, it's okay. I see.
参加しなきゃ。
いやいや、おかしいでしょ。未来に引っ張られてるじゃないですか。
無事起きるんだ。
It's just an extremely clever, well thought out sci-fi film that succeeds in telling a fresh time travel story while also being a sharp, dark comedy. That is a rarity that in itself is tough to replicate in any phase of the time-space continuum.
後でちゃんと説明しますね。このテレビのせいで大変ですよ。
Anyway, thanks guys for watching another little sci-fi ditty here with me. Hope you like these suggestions, and obviously if you guys have any other recommendations, leave them below. I know I'm probably leaving a bunch out here, but I will scan the comments. I'm always looking for new sci-fi stuff, and thanks again for watching.